Today I'm talking about my ideas and loose plans for fall knitting. So grab a cup of something and let's dive in. Hey there friends, welcome back. If you are new to my channel, my name is Melissa. I am the dyer behind Rising Tide Fiber Co. And if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. So just like in the spring, I thought I would give you a sense of what are my loose plans for fall knitting. The weather is changing. We're starting to feel some of those cooler temps, particularly in the evenings. So I thought I'd give you some ideas, see what maybe you are thinking about knitting as well. So to kick off on September 1st, so about a week ago, Malabrigo kicked off their annual knit along. For the last couple of years, they've been choosing a pattern that was designed using their yarn, and they're kind of reinventing it. This year, they're choosing the Barnstable by Lisa Hands. And this was a pattern that was originally designed using their Dos Terras base. And this year they're using a new worsted weight base. This year I was not interested in using the Malabrigo yarn. I haven't finished last year's shawl using Malabrigo yarn. So I decided that I would use my own worsted weight base, and then I could actually finish the shawl and use it as a sample. So it requires 2 skeins of one color and 1 skein of a contrasting color. And if you look at various retailers, like Jimmy Beans has kits already put together, you will see a lot of times they've chosen a tonal and a variegated, and then it's just a matter of which way are they using it. Now, when I went through all of the shawls that had been done, I was drawn to the ones that the main color was tonal and then the variegated was used in the mosaic tile work. There are examples of people who have done the variegated and then used the tonal as their mosaic portion. And some of those I like and some of them I didn't. So I knew for mine that if I wanted to be certain that I loved it, then I needed to stick with a tonal for the largest part of it and use my variegated or speckled as my mosaic colorway. And I have settled on Guilty as Sin for my main color. This is sort of like a tealy blue. It came out of, this is a colorway that was born out of my Taylor Swift Eras Advent in Christmas of 2023. And then for my contrasting color, I've chosen Luck of Legend. And this is actually a colorway that is named after one of my dogs. And so this one, as you'll see, is really a much lighter blue. And then it's got golds and reds and browns and purple speckles. So I think this is going to be really lovely. And so my hope is that I will get this done before the end of October and have a beautiful sample for the Frederick Fiber Fest. That's my first festival of the season with my mobile yarn trailer. And so that will probably get wound up this weekend and I'll start dabbling in that. And then there's also Hoagie Locatelli does a fall knit along every fall for, I can't remember how long it's been. And so I have a few ideas. I have plenty of patterns that I have used with hers in the past. If you're a newsletter subscriber of mine, I sent out an email last week saying, hey, today's the deadline to sign up, and here's patterns that I personally love. And so a few of those I'm actually going to knit myself. And the first one is the Flying Birds Shorty socks. I really love knitting socks. They're small, they're portable. I really like the delicate nature of these socks. And so I don't have a skein of it up here with me, but I'm going to use my Shell Yeah colorway, which is just a pale, like bear colored wool, but it has very fine speckles of blues, yellows, pinks, just a confetti of color, but they will do really well, I think, in these shorty socks. So I'm excited to possibly do these. The other one that I'm thinking of is Ooey did a free pattern called Rafa's hat. And I believe that is somehow related to, I think it's related to her ex-husband now. But this uses worsted weight. It's a US 5 needle. It's a free pattern last time I checked. And so I thought this is a really quick pattern that would make a really nice gift for someone come holiday season. I know a lot of people start thinking about holiday gift knitting if they didn't start thinking about it over the summer. And so I'm thinking of using my Spruce It Up colorway. This is a blue leaning green. I love this colorway. I think it is my number one selling color. And I have a sweater in it, but I don't have anything small displayed in it. And so I'm thinking a hat would be a really great idea. So I'm thinking that. If you are familiar with Boho Chic Knits, she just had a shawl pattern come out a few weeks ago called the Buoy Shawl. And this is actually a worsted weight shawl, just like the Malabrigo shawl. So I think both shawls will go super quick because you're using worsted weight yarn. Now, in her version, you see she has used two different colors. She's used a lot of a high contrast difference. I'm not liking that for myself. So I'm thinking of doing it just in one color. I think it'll be just as beautiful, but I'm not looking for that pop of color per se, like her version. So I've contemplated using this boysenberry color of mine. I have a sweater. I did the Salty Air sweater in this colorway, and I get tons of compliments on that sweater. So I think this would be a beautiful color for that shawl, and it'll be just as striking in one color versus using two contrasting colors. I could see myself doing it in maybe a speckle with a tonal as a contrasting color or a much lower contrast. But right now I'm leaning towards just a single contrast color. The other pattern that I am interested in, originally I thought I would maybe work on casting on the Ooey Gooey sweater by Andrea Mowry. But what I realized is I still have other projects or other sweaters. And the main sweater that I want to finish this fall is my Fleetwood sweater. And so I've done the front. I'm not quite at the halfway mark for the back. But this is also, the granny squares are crocheted with DK weight yarn, but the sweater itself is knit in worsted. That's so that your gauge kind of matches the squares when you go to combine them all. So I definitely want to finish my Fleetwood sweater. That's high on my list. When I talked about my summer plans, I thought about the Getty tee and the Fleetwood. I did finish the Getty tee by Tanis Lavelli. I just need to finish my Fleetwood. So that is definitely in my fall knitting plans. So since I didn't finish my Fleetwood this summer, I don't really want to cast on the Ooey Gooey sweater per se. Not to say that I won't farther down the line, but I'm hesitant to cast on another sweater when I already have one on the needles. I'm trying to be more intentional with what I'm casting on because I already, when I have cast on itis, I lean towards socks. So Andrea Mowry just released the Ooey Gooey Cowl, and she's doing a knit along for that I want to say starts in a week or two. And so I did start kicking around ideas of, well, that is smaller, more manageable. And so I don't think I'm leaning towards a self-striping long color changing yarn like Spin Cycle, Feederbrook, Yarn Hero, what's that other one? Junction Fiber Mill. So I just released a new colorway for Pigskin Party. Boston Jen of Downseller Studios just kicked off Pigskin Party yesterday. And so I'm thinking of using I'm a Pro Shop sponsor, so I have developed a colorway. Anyone can buy the colorway, but I did create it specifically for this year's Pigskin Party. It's called Gridiron Goddess. So it's sort of like a minty green with some light blues in it. And then it's got pops of pink, teal, gold. So I'm thinking about using this as the contrasting color. And then, believe it or not, I'm thinking of pairing it. You hold 2 strands of Surrey together. So I'm thinking my 2 strands of Surrey will be pink. I'm going to try that and see what happens. If push comes to shove and I'm not liking the look of that speckly in the Surrey for this particular cowl, then I can always change my mind and change to a long color changing yarn. I have plenty in my stash. I'm a huge fan of Feederbrook Farm because they are local to my state. I live in Calvert County. They're just a couple counties away in Baltimore County. And then the other pattern that I have in the midst is my night and day shawl. This is a pattern by Andrea Mowry. Again, it uses DK weight yarn. It called for one of those long color changing yarns, and I opted not to. So my main color is silver gray, and I chose Petal Power because Petal Power, when it's knit up, is beautiful. I have a hat in this colorway. People always tell me how beautiful that hat is when they're at fiber festivals. But in the skein, this looks probably a lot harsher than it really is. And so pairing them together, it's looking quite lovely. But I'm not even a third of the way through it because it does require a little bit more brain power than I want to give it recently. So that's the other pattern that I'd like to finish for the fall. I have started it. So loose ideas and plans. Finish a sweater, finish a shawl, and then I've got 2 shawls I would like to cast on. I don't know who I am. I'm not a shawl knitter. I'm very much sweaters and socks. But I would like to get these 2 worsted weight sweaters done, and then the hat and the socks by Hohi. I also seem to be in my blanket era. I have I want to say about a month ago, I got this wild whim to suddenly cast on start making granny squares. So I had a couple of advents that were in Taylor Swift advents, one from last year, which was based on Tortured Poets, and then the year before, which was the Eras tour. So my DK weight from last year for Tortured Poets, they are all done. So there are 24 minis here. And then I did finally locate my mini skeins from the Eras tour. These are fingering, so I'll have to carry this double, but I will probably do these 24 minis as well. And so that is definitely a fall project. I do find granny squares quite palatable. It feels like instant gratification. I had been trying to do one a day, and so when I'm feeling really busy and I get to the end of my night and I feel like I don't have a ton of time, this feels really good to be able to crochet one up. What I do is I just wind all the minis all at once, and then I go ahead and crochet them. I just reach in the bag and crochet them. The blanket, I think I fell into this rabbit hole because Chelsea and Sue of Legacy Knits Fiber Arts, they are doing a a blanket along with Rachel of Treehouse Knits. They are doing this like log cabin style crochet squares. That's what they're doing, but everybody's participating is doing all kinds of crochet squares. So there's just this crochet mania going on over there with blankets, and I really just kind of fell down that rabbit hole right on with them. So I blame them. And that's all I have for you today as far as loose knitting plans and ideas. I'd love to hear, what are you planning on knitting? Like, is there something that you are so set on making this fall? I'd love to hear what it is. If not, go ahead and give me a ball of yarn emoji to tell me that you made it to the end of this video. So until next time, friends, happy knitting.